The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. There is nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly displayed between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Dark Mark, along with my mold-riddled counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you the latest episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping ours where they belong and adding them where they don't. This is a safe space for those of us who purchase VHS tape rewinders to cut down on the wear and tear of our precious VCR's rewind function. Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worshippers, get out of here. If you haven't already, click that subscribe or follow button and tell a friend to do the same. Even that guy who you thought was Mr. Right, but was really Mr. Wrong. Yeah, that guy. Because it's about upping the number of listeners. It can't always be about you. If you wish to interact with fellow monster kids, follow the Facebook page Macabre Theater. It's there where you can send me a voice message through Messenger and be part of this show. Come on, you little ham, you know you want to. A link can be found in the description of this episode. Macabre Cast episode 139 begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabro.
Crystal Lake, Carrie, something very bad is going to happen. Anne Rice's Talamasca.
Why are you just randomly naming things off?
These are all very anticipated horror-related shows coming to cable and streaming, Karis.
Really? Something very bad is going to happen?
That's a show coming to Netflix, a horror drama about a couple's wedding week that takes a dark turn.
Wedding week? So a wedding day just isn't enough anymore? I'm glad it takes a dark turn. Talamasca?
That's a supernatural thriller based on Anne Rice's universe that she had created in her books. It will expand on those writings.
If it's anything like that Interview with a Vampire series that came out, then I could care less.
I didn't care for that either, and I'll take Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt's version over that any day.
Oh, okay. Well, we're trotting on my time now, joke time. I'll bet you didn't know this, Doc, but I made my own pencil.
You made your own pencil?
That's right. And the pencil I made has 2 erasers.
It has 2 erasers?
Yeah, it was pointless.
And on that note, it's time for horror news. So apparently before Stranger Things Season 5 began filming, Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Eleven, filed a harassment and bullying charge against David Harbour, who plays her adoptive father, John Hopper. The claims were not sexual in nature, but there was an investigation, and Millie Bobby Brown kept a personal representative present on the set with her. No actual lawsuit has been filed, and I can find nothing of what she is saying he did. It's pretty confidential. A lot of this came out in November, so I guess Macabre Cast has been, asleep at the wheel. And speaking of popular Netflix series, it's been announced that One Last Adventure, the making of Stranger Things 5, is out now, as we speak. It was released January 12th. The original TV movie Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, not the subpar remake by Del Toro, the original is being released on 4K and Blu-ray in 2026. And that's it for horror news. And Draven agrees. Draven, the blood-vomiting bat. Children of the night, what messes they make. There's one thing I think I have to get off my chest. As we all know, last June 2025, was the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And we all celebrated, and it was a good thing. But sometime in 2023, and I think this started with a Steven Spielberg interview. Okay. Now, in this interview, it's claimed he says that Pippet, the dog, the black Labrador retriever on the beach chasing the stick, and it's Pippet, P-I-P-I-T, for you morons that are always saying Pippin and demanding that it's Pippin. And then you have that other guy that's saying Pepper. You know, there's always that guy in the crowd, right? Anyway, Pippet, okay? He was reported, he claimed Pippet wasn't eaten, that Pippet that ran home to have dinner. And a scene was cut showing him with his owner, okay? This is nonsense. And the real story is a young girl reporter, a junior reporter for the New York Daily News, was interviewing Mr. Spielberg and expressed deep sorrow about Pippet's death. And you know, Spielberg, he's a feel-good guy. He wants everything to be okay. He wants people. This is the guy. You know, watch E.T. Okay, he doesn't want you to be sad, or if he wants you to be sad, he's going to give you a grandiose happy ending like E.T. Okay. Let me explain something. And you know, I love these internet armchair warriors that get on there and say, well, there was no blood around the stick. Okay, the shark was 20 feet long. It swallowed Pippet and probably never even bit him, just digested him. And let me explain why this is nonsense. This was Spielberg trying to make a young girl feel better, which is just silly in itself. The dog, here's the key thing. You're always going to have people in that audience that don't think you should kill the shark because the shark is just doing what it does, okay? So Spielberg geniusly has this thing kill a dog and a child all in the same scene. And I'd like to see that person stand up in the theater and still say, we're not gonna kill this beast, because he'd be outnumbered. And that's why that is. Pippet was lunch. No, Pippet was actually brunch, but he was the snack before the lunch. The little boy obviously was the lunch. But I can't stand this. And it seems to be everywhere. Google it, and your head will spin with the morons behind this whole theory, and that Pippet got tired of chasing the stick and went home and to eat dinner. And that wasn't really his real own. The guy's calling Pippet's name, and they purposely show you a stick floating in the water, and then seconds later there's Jaws music and a kid gets munched. Okay, rant over. I had to get that out. And thank goodness we have Horror Chat Matt on the line, because he makes everyone happy. A very, happy-go-lucky guy.
Horror Chat Matt knows all about monsters. He said they were coming to get me tonight.
Hey, Doc Mark, Little Cars, and all the Monster Kids hang out at the theater this week. It's Horror Chat Matt checking in. So, Doc, I watched the season finale to Stranger Things, or the series finale, I should say, And I do want to put out a spoiler warning here. At this point, I feel like almost everybody's probably seen it, but I don't want to be the person that ruins it for somebody that hasn't checked out the ending yet. So with that being said, overall, I liked it. Was it perfect? No. Did I expect it to be perfect? Absolutely not, especially one of my main gripes with it was how long it took to get this thing done. And I feel like if they had been able to wrap this thing up when they wanted to, it probably would have been better. But one of my main obstacles was getting over how old the kids looked. And like I said before, it is what it is. I'd rather have this than have nothing. So I'll try and get past that. A couple of the other little things that I've noted from the finale was, like you said, I don't know why they had Linda Hamilton in this thing. Her character really did nothing. She came out of nowhere, caused a problem. I think they just wanted Linda Hamilton in the show. And there's no end to her story. It just, they walk away. And that's one of my gripes with this thing. Okay, so 11 dies. Maybe she doesn't. You choose what you want to believe. And I guess the military's like, hey, you're good to go. Let's just forget the fact that you killed several service members throughout this thing, whether 11's there or not. They were legit killing soldiers in this thing. They shot them and everything else, and they were all free to go, I guess, because they couldn't get 11. That one was kind of mind-boggling to me, but okay, let that one go. I think, Jack-O-Lantern, I think you're onto something here. I've heard quite a few theories as to what happened to 11. You mentioned her tattoo on her wrist that wasn't there. I saw another theory that actually makes a lot of sense, and that's with Mike and Delightful Derek on the back of the 5-ton when they're leaving, and Mike's having a conversation with 11, and then all of a sudden Delightful Derek Mike's smiling and you know, looking at 11, and then it cuts to Delightful Derek, and he's kind of looking at Mike, and he waves, and Mike's like, what the heck's this kid waving at me for? And then Derek does mention to Holly, Mike's brother, oh yeah, me and your brother are friends now. And apparently she was never on the truck with them, according to this theory, and Derek just thought that Mike was staring at him the whole time, so he thought that he liked him. So anyways, I'm going out there, and I'm going to be on the side that believes that 11's out there somewhere. Is it a perfect ending for the hero of the show? No, but it's better than being dead, I guess. I may be in the minority, but I did enjoy the Lord of the Rings type ending this thing had. Return of the King, where the movie just didn't end. And Stranger Things, they had another 40 minutes after they beat Vecna, which I thought they beat him kind of easy after all this. And there wasn't much in the Upside Down, which was kind of weird. No Demogorgons or anything else. Just Vecna, which was a little bit of a disappointing. And I know some people said it was a little cheesy where everybody had their own little part to play to take him out. I was never a big Dungeons & Dragons player growing up. But I think that's kind of like the moral or the point of the game, where everybody plays a role to defeat the villain. And I can roll with that one. But I did like how they attempted to wrap up everybody's story. The one that's kind of the saddest to me, and I think as adults we all know, as soon as they said this, was Nancy, Will, Robin, and Steve up on the roof, and they're talking and they're making plans like, hey, even though we're all going our separate ways, once a year we'll get back together and hang out. And let's be honest, 1989, that's not happening. With no social media or anything, these people are going to lose touch with one another. It's just unrealistic for adults to continue to meet up year after year. But, you know, it's Stranger Things universe. Maybe these things did go down, hopefully. And last but not least, I did want to touch base again about Keeper. So, Dark, I found out why this thing felt like it was kind of on the shelf. And it wasn't actually on the shelf. I guess Perkins Osgood had the crew together, and they went into a production shutdown for a bit with the monkey. And rather than break up the crew and everything, he kept everybody together. And in the downtime, they made Keeper. So that kind of explains a lot behind this movie, how it kind of felt like it was thrown together and enjoyable, but not great. But that explains that mystery. And I guess that's all I got to say for this week. As always, make mine Macabrecast.
I think that you and Metal Melody's expectations were so high for the Stranger Things final that it could never hold up. Ever. And yeah, your point about no one being charged for killing soldiers, you know what? Now I hate the final. And Keeper, it wasn't the monkey, but I liked it. And I reviewed it on episode 138 for anyone that gives a care to hear what I thought. That was the last episode. As always, Horror Chat, it's so great to hear from you week after week, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Take care. So of all the cool stuff coming out in 2026, I'm kind of excited about this Return of the Living Dead. Now, this doesn't get released until November of 2026, but they're saying that this is not a remake, that it's a sequel to the original, which is great, and I'm excited. And they say it's going to be the return of Tarman. Remember him from that zombie from the first one? And this is all great, but then reports say that this takes place 18 months after the original, and that it's about a zombie outbreak during Christmas of 1985. Well, there's 12 months in a year. The original film took place in 1985. Maybe it wasn't Christmas time, but I'm already aggravated. You know, and the thing is, sometimes with these movies, they get more than one writer, like a team of writers. Guys, call me. Because this is just, if this is true, this is unacceptable. Please, come on. And I don't want to give away the ending of the original, but if you remember the ending, I hope this doesn't take place in the same town, because that town doesn't exist anymore. And if you know, you know. And guys, the movie came out in 1985. Anyone else goes, oh, he's spoiling it. Get a hold of yourself, please. But anyway, I am excited about Return of the Living Dead, but right away that just aggravated me. I don't mean to be a grouchy old man, but this is not tough, folks. That should be one of the easiest parts of writing the story, is just getting your timeline straight. You're only making a sequel based off of the original. How hard could it be?
Hey, it's Grim Kim.
Grim Facts.
Hi, Macabre Theater. Hi, Dark Mark. How are you guys doing this week? It's Grim Kim checking in. I just listened to the prompt for this week's episode, and I'm not that privy to a lot of the new horror series that are coming out, but of course, Camp Crystal Lake, and I have high hopes for it. I hope my hopes aren't too high and unrealistic for it, but I think what an interesting world to go back in, and I'm hoping it's as good as Bates Motel was, and I know you and I both really enjoyed that, Mark. Anyway, I've been chipping away, and I have seen a few more things that I definitely piqued my interest, let's say. I was waiting on Begonia to come out of theaters or be in theaters. Oh, I want to go see it. Doesn't matter. It's on stream. It was free on Peacock by the time I got to it, which is fantastic. I don't mind going to a matinee. I just don't know when the next time I'm going to be, catch it in a theater. It's so quick to the streaming services. And I don't know. I guess there's pros and cons about that. Mostly pros. Begonia, I loved it. It was awesome. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story, but this guy kidnaps, which Emma is it? Emma Thompson? No, Emma Roberts. Which one is it? It's one of the Emmas. Emma Stone. And Is she part of this alien invasion, or is he just straight up cray cray? And you don't know till the end. Who's out of their minds? Is this a whole thing? Is it true? Is it really creative story? The acting was excellent. The story was so enjoyable and different, and I loved how it ended as well. Highest recommendation for this movie. I chipped away at a couple things that have been on my list. Number one is Vi, V-Y-E, I believe. It's an oldie from the 60s, and she's a witch who gets killed accidentally, so this young shepherd has to kind of like watch over her body for 3 nights in the cathedral, and entities are trying to haunt him, including her in witch form, and it was endearing. It was endearing, and in 1960s, the low budget special effects, I just have such a warm place in my heart for them. It was subtitled. Yeah, I'm so glad I finally saw it. The one I really want to see is Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. Of course, it's not on anything except one random, elusive streaming service, and I just don't even know if I can. You have to download one of these streaming services to even rent this movie. And I'm like, isn't that always the way? So maybe it'll just stay on my on my list for a little bit longer. One thing I saw last night, I had been wanting to. I'm not a fan of, let's say, the found footage documentary style movies. However, I've seen a couple lately that may be changing my mind. This one is Barry Levinson's The Bay from 2012. It's eco horror. Yeah, it was very good. Oof, I don't know if I can handle the eco horror. It is just so true to life. Like, this could have happened. This can happen. Who says it's not happening? And yeah, it was well done. I mean, it had a $2 million budget, which seems really, really low. And it was enjoyable. I'm a little nervous because I just found out I do have a Shudder subscription, I think through Paramount. And, oh boy, I just don't even know how to delve into the world of Shudder. It's a little overwhelming, but I may start with watching things that are an hour or less. I saw something that's been making these lists. It's called Host. It was under an hour long. Oh, it was so enjoyable. Number one, because you feel like you're not investing that much time in it. Number two, it was a little easier for my nervous system to want to stay awake for a movie that was less than an hour long. I guess it was kind of like found footage style. So parts of it were like, I don't like it when the camera's like whipping all over the place, shaky camera work. That part is why I'm not keen on found footage. But it wasn't all of it. Mostly it was people talking through a Zoom. They had done a Zoom seance during COVID, and things go awry, as they often will. And it was very enjoyable, and I would recommend it. You may be able to find it. You know how Netflix and sometimes Tubi, they'll pick up some of the older Shudder stuff that did really, really well. One more I saw, again, a found footage. It's called Rec. It's Spanish with subtitles. It makes the top of these found footage lists all the time. As a matter of fact, they ended up coming out with Rec 2, Rec 3. Do I need to see Rec 2 and Rec 3? Probably not. But it is a zombie movie. And in general, I do like zombie movies. And it was enjoyable. Absolutely. So anyway, I haven't been disappointed with the movies that I have seen and can finally cross off my list. I do, as a last thing, want to touch upon number one. I've got my smile on my face and my ribbon in my hair because I just love it. Welcome to Derry and everything about it. Loved it. I love the ending. I loved how it explain things. I love the whole Dick Halloran backstory with The Shining. See, I know it's getting picked up for at least a couple more seasons. Yes, I will watch it. I try not to overthink it because basically, okay, the next season's going to be about what happened in a different timeline or generation of this town and, this big mill accident that happens and everything that. So, I mean, the story is what it is, okay? Pennywise is going to be in different forms, wreaking havoc through the ages. And I'm just going to stick with it and enjoy it as much as I can. But this first episode, the first season, I loved the mutant bat baby with the lady giving birth at the beginning. Oh, I loved it. It was fantastic. And that's all I have to say about that. Stranger Things, you know what? I'm not even going to bother watching the 3 episodes culminating towards the finale. I don't need to. I've heard all about it. I knew it was going to go the way it did. This last season and the season before, it just got duller and duller to me. And I don't know. It's like maybe there's too much character development going on and not enough monster story to it. They spent way too much time over in this Russian prison with Hop. I could care less about that. And I just... You know what I mean? Elle, they're going back to the backstory of her in the clinic again, and how Vecna's getting, becomes, all right, So I feel torn about it. But I had decided before the last little break that, it wasn't ever as good as I was actually hoping it to be. And that's all I can say about that. I probably will not be following the other spin-offs to that show. But anyway, you can't win them all. So that's it for this week, and I'm glad I had some stuff to contribute. Mark, break a leg at your show this weekend. I am sad to be missing it. Hopefully next time around, and just have so much fun. I know you do, and it's so impressive. Your stage performance, everything about it. Never mind your singing ability. It's just fantastic, and I really admire all your talents. Okay, break a leg. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Grim Kim, for the wonderful and kind words about my stage performance and singing. It's really appreciated. And it's a downer that you won't be able to make it to that show, but you've been to see us a few times. You've been actually, a few times. So we hope to see you there again in the future, though. We can only hope Crystal Lake is as good as Bates Motel. I have high hopes myself for it, and everything I've heard and the behind-the-scenes pictures that I've seen, so far I'm happy. I think they're going to get this one right. Laura Horror may disagree with me, but you all know how much I love Shudder, so I'm glad that you now have that. Host I saw, I don't think I reviewed it on here, but I may have written a review on Macabre Theater. If anyone's interested in reading that, and you probably could care less, but I don't blame you. Wreck, I saw that, and yes, it was good. And Grim joined the parade with Metal Melody and Jack-O-Lantern, and myself, because we may be the only ones who like Welcome to Derry. But I guess you're in the same camp with Horror Chat Matt Melody also with the Stranger Things final and not having it. But, that's okay. Everybody has different opinions, and that's what Macabre Cast is all about. And we love hearing from you as often as we can. Be safe and have a good one. Grim Kim. Take care.
And now it's time for real world horror. And now here's your host, Dark Mark.
At some point during the night of June 9th and early morning of June 10th, 1912, in Villisca, Iowa, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 guests were found with their skulls crushed in by an axe. A neighbor of the Moores, Mary Peckham, became concerned after noticing the family wasn't out doing their morning chores. She called a nearby family member who entered the locked house with a key. He found the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Moore, their 2 children, and 2 child friends of the children. Every mirror in the house was covered by a blanket or an article of clothing. Bizarrely, after police searched the house at 8:40 a.m., people were allowed in to view the scene, which completely contaminated the crime scene. The Reverend George Kelly was an odd duck who was known for being a peeping Tom and asking young girls to pose nude for pictures. He was conveniently away during the time of the murder, but he was tried twice for this crime. The first was a hung jury, the second was an acquittal. It's reported he even confessed in court, but the jury did not believe his confession. There were other suspects, but nothing that actually proved that they were the killers. The house was purchased in 1995. All modern reservations were undone, and it was restored to its 1912 condition. There are now tours and overnight stays, as the house is also deemed to be haunted due to its gruesome past.
Tune in next time to Real World Horror with Mark.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis the Little Mummy. Scary Larry here, large and in charge of something. Gonna talk horror, gonna talk movies, series, and whatnot. Hey Karis, where do rainbows go when they've been bad? To Prism, so they have time to reflect on what they've done. Okay, so this week's subject, horror series you're looking forward to. I don't have a particular one to look forward to. Unless it streams on one of my channels, it's doubtful I'll watch. However, I can recommend the following horror-themed series. The Haunting of Hill House. Good show, great cast. I believe you can find that on Netflix. Hysteria with Bruce Campbell. For those Gen X kids who grew up during the Satanic Panic, this is a fun satire. The Creep Show series available on Shudder. And last but not least, Creature Commandos available on several streaming services. So I happened to catch a trailer called We Bury the Dead. Felt it had potential, and I did the late movie one night at the Regal. It's meh. Without spoilers, I'd classify this as an amalgamation of better-known zombie rage virus movies. The plot is the U.S. military accidentally sets off a nuclear-type weapon in Tasmania, Australia, wiping out 500,000 humans and every other living creature. They give zero explanations on how or why the U.S. would be dealing with a weapon half a world away, so I felt that was a dumb premise. The weapon, they say, causes a sort of EMP disruption that shuts the brain off instantly. Again, they just dance around it. They really don't get into it. But some bodies start their brains up again. But yeah, you guessed it. They're not the same. Daisy Ridley plays an American who volunteers to help recover the bodies to be properly buried in mass graves, but has an ulterior motive. Find her husband, who's on a business retreat exactly where the accident happened. Yeah, real believable. Now, if you're a casual fan of the zombie drama, you'll recognize what I'll call a sampling of scenes from other horror, including a pivotal scene I swore was stolen directly from 28 Days Later. Couple of decent scenes, couple of funny moments, but that's it. 2.5 stars. Wait for it to stream. If you can, wait till it's free on one of your streaming services. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yo, Scary, The Haunting of Hill House, that series that was on Netflix, was phenomenal. Really, really good. I have to check out that Bruce Campbell show. Creep Show, as you know, I love the movie, and the series that was put together on Shudder is, I think it's amazing. It's as close as you can get to that original movie, and I know there's a lot of people that were involved with that movie, involved with the show. Not George Romero, obviously, but I know they used some Stephen King stories for some of the episodes, but very well done, and I believe practical effects. You're not going to see CGI in there. Creature Commandos, not that I wouldn't check it out, but I don't know that that's so much my thing. And thank you about We Bury the Dead, as thanks to you, we dodge another bullet. And we hope to hear from you again next week, Scary Larry, so you can see it, and we don't have to. Deep Death Dive. Today's Deep Death Dive is Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 from 1990. So I think it's fair to say the only other franchise that poses a potential threat to the Halloween franchise as being more askew with their timelines and their story continuity would have to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, the original is hailed, and I agree, as one of the best horror movies of all time. You know, it took Grim Kim more than half of her life to see the whole thing. All right, when Hollywood gave Tobe Hooper a boatload of money and free rein to make a sequel, any way he saw fit, what they got was not what they expected. They even seemed uncertain as to how to advertise for it. Tobe Hooper is a creative filmmaker who knew he'd never be able to duplicate his masterpiece, most of which happened due to circumstances, of the shoot. Think Jaws when Spielberg couldn't get the shark to work. There were many things that caused Hooper to, that he did, budget-wise, film-wise. So instead, Hooper went for a tongue firmly in cheek black comedy. Don't get me wrong, there are still some very intense, creepy scenes in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Even a young 17-year-old Dark Mark was pretty taken back when Chop Top enters the radio station after hours to confront Stretch, the DJ, all the while burning pieces of his scalp with a lighter and a coat hanger and then eating said pieces of skin. But I digress. Personally, I have always considered the original Part 2, with all its campiness, as canon. That being said, it doesn't mean I don't like any of the other Chainsaw movies in this franchise, because I do. But today I'd like to specifically talk about 1990's Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, directed by Jeff Burr. Not to be confused with the putrid rat feces mess from 2017, also called Leatherface. That, my fellow monster kids, has a horrible mention written all over it. And its justice shall come right soon. 1990's Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 was hell-bent on reclaiming its nasty, gritty crown most felt it lost with Part 2. The only problem, censorship was on a massive wave at the time, so very much was cut from this film. It truly makes me sad. But I loved it anyway. For starters, one of its stars is horror icon Dawn of the Dead star Ken Foree. When it begins, we get yet another opening narration tying up any loose ends that Part 2 may have created. It tells us Sally Hardesty, the sole survivor of the original film, died in a private healthcare facility 4 years later. The Sawyer clan leader, known to us all as the Cook, was the only person to see trial. He died in the gas chamber in 1981. It suggests that Leatherface, who was never found and apprehended, may have been an alternate personality whenever the Cook donned one of the flesh masks. Or if there is a Leatherface and he is still at large, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was only the beginning. I was 21 when I heard those words for the first time in a darkened theater, and I could never describe how excited I was. So here we are introduced to a couple who seem to be headed somewhere together, that when they reach that destination, they'll probably part ways. That's just the general vibe that you get. Along their journey, they meet some pretty particular characters, and one being a pervert named Alfredo, who is the perfect stand-in for the now deceased hitchhiker in Chop Top. A series of events happen, whether on purpose or not, that's for you to decide, lead them near Leatherface and his extended family. I guess, anyway. This seems as though it's supposed to be relatives that lived nearby to the family farm, but it's never explained, and maybe that just doesn't matter. The movie isn't perfect by any sake of the means, but next to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, it's a masterpiece. And that was written by Kim Hinkle, who helped pen the original. And it starred Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. But once again, I digress. R.A. Mihailoff's interpretation of Leatherface is decent. He doesn't just imitate Gunnar Henson, and we have to remember that this killer is older now. Director Jeff Burr was forbidden by New Line Cinema from even speaking with Tobe Hooper. But that was never explained as to why he couldn't. The original script for this had a scene where a man was hung upside down nude and split down the middle, but producers objected to it, and it was never filmed. And then there's Terrifier, insert girl instead of guy. Kane Hodder portrays Leatherface in the infamous teaser trailer that nods its head to Excalibur. Hodder was a stunt coordinator on this film, and Mihailoff's double. This movie was submitted 11 times to the MPAA. Each time they demanded more to be cut. Some cuts are lost for all time, and I have heard there's a restored version that is either in the works or it's out there now, where some scenes that were saved were reinserted into the film. This was the last film to be given an X rating before the rating was replaced with NC-17. One last thing that I thought was a nice touch was apparently Leatherface brought Grandpa's corpse with him when he came to live with his new extended family, and they have him propped up at the kitchen table where he'd probably want to be. This wasn't the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel that I liked, and somewhere in the future I'll touch on those as well. So if you somehow missed this one, check out Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 from 1990, 36 years ago.
Deep, death, dive.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Metal Melody.
Hello, Doc Mark, Kara's Little Mummy, and all the Macabre fans listening. Metal Melody, check it in. I just want to start off by saying that I watched the Copwood classic, Hands of the Ripper, and what a great movie, Mark. I've never seen this before. And I really liked it. It was like a thriller / possession movie. I felt so bad for that poor girl. And the ending was a bit sad, but really good movie. I don't know what year it came out, but I know it's, older. But I was like, wow, like I really enjoyed it. What other movies did I see? I saw a movie called The Honeymoon. I think it was on Netflix or Prime. It was a well, it wasn't, I guess it was a little slow, but it was interesting. this couple who just got married goes to a remote cabin for their honeymoon, and his wife, I guess, disappears in the woods one night, and something happens to her out there, and she, little by little, she starts forgetting things like how to make French toast, how to cook French toast, how to make coffee. And her new husband's very curious about what's going on. He's trying to piece things together. So it's pretty much about him trying to find out what's going on with his wife while she's losing herself. I'm not recommending, but I'm suggesting, if that makes sense, if there's a difference. I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I liked it. So anyway, The Honeymoon, it's called. And I thought the girl and the guy were good actors too. So I'm hoping to see Bone Temple. That's coming out soon. Primate also, which looks like it might be good. I don't know why that reminds me of The Monkey. Like they have nothing to do with each other, but I don't know. Let me see. We Bury the Dead looks good. That's also a zombie movie. I think they all come out this month. The Return of Silent Hill. I'm very interested in seeing where that one goes. Return to Silent Hill. Yeah, I can't wait for that one to come out either. I have seen the trailer for Sentinel, and although I love Rachel McAdams, I don't know. I didn't really care for the trailer that much, so I don't know. I might just wait for that to stream or watch it on like my internet app. So many movies, like, where to begin? I don't know. I guess whatever comes out first. But anyway, I probably won't be watching too much because this weekend, because I have a lot to do, and I have my niece's birthday party Friday night / dinner, and then I have an event Saturday night. I'm going to see the Blizzard of Oz. Hell yeah! Maybe Sunday I'll take a little jaunt out to the theater with my sister, and we'll go see Primate. We'll see. But I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I hope you're all back to normal, back in work mode. Back to normal, I mean not eating shitty food and, drinking a lot. Like some people. Not me, but some people. And, Karis. Yes, my swearing. That is not something as a New Year resolution. I didn't have a New Year resolution to stop swearing, so that's out the friggin' window. Yeah, just like Lent. I don't give that up for Lent either. I'll break in the first friggin' hour, and I know that. Too funny. But anyway, I hope everybody has a good week. Hopefully I'll have seen some movies that we can talk about, or I can talk about to you guys on episode 139. So everybody take care. Bye-bye.
Well, Melody, you know what they say about a girl with a potty mouth? They say, there's a girl with a potty mouth. See you next week.
Metal Melody really takes advantage of the Cobweb classics, and I'm so glad. I mean, I notice a lot of times after a recommendation and you go and see it, for the most part, it seems like you like most of them, and that's the whole point. Hands of the Ripper is definitely a lesser-known Hammer film about Jack the Ripper, actually more about his daughter. And yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It is an excellent film. Honeymoon, I don't even believe I've ever heard of. And if you've just heard Scary Larry's review of We Bury the Dead, you may want to wait for that to come to streaming. Thank you so much, Metal Melody. We look forward to hearing from you every week, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabro.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast.
Shh, come on now. Everybody pipe down. It's time for the final thought. You know, when a guy who watches monster movies is all of a sudden going to talk like some kind of philosopher.
New Year resolutions. Generally, I don't make them. We know year-round what we need to improve on. Setting a date or countdown can turn simple changes into colossal endeavors. C.S. Lewis said, "You are never too old to get another goal or dream a new dream." While Oscar Wilde said, "A New Year resolution is something that goes in one year and out the other." Putting such an expectation on yourself is probably added stress in life you don't need. Like I said, we know what needs changing. Try to change that behavior or action, and if you don't succeed at first, it's not the end of the world. Try again. Welcome to 2026, Monster Kids.
Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope.
This is a Macabre Theater production.
Subscribe.